Hello everyone, hope you're doing great and I want to thank you for watching this video. What I want to showcase today is the DnD 5e 2024 rule set character tracker. It was originally just going to be a character creation application, but it has evolved so much since then. Now I will start by creating a new character. So as you can see, we have all the important stuff, the identity, which means the name, your character class, the species, the background for your character and your alignment. We also have the ability scores. You can use point buy. That means that you get capped at 15, but you can buy as much as you want as long as you have the remaining points. You have the roles, so you can assign your role scores into your stats. You can reroll them, and you can assign those rerolls as well. You have the standard array, which is the 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. You can do anything like this. And finally, for the point allocation, you also have the points that your background gives you. You have the +2/+1 option for the respective abilities, or you can also go 1-1-1 for all of them. As you can see, they get the final score from the bonus plus what you already assigned. In this case, I have intelligence +1, wisdom +1, and charisma +1. We also have the proficiencies in which you can choose based on your class. You do get also the proficiencies from your background. So all of them get exempted from the list that you see in here. So I can choose perception and medicine. If I change my background, for example, I will get maybe new ones in here or new ones in the excluded section. If I choose a different class, let's say rogue, I can choose now 4, not 2, because that's what the class gets. And well, you get the gist of it. You also have tool proficiencies, and the interesting part in here is that by your background, you also get those proficiencies. So if, for example, if I go for artisan, I get proficiency in artisan tools, and I can choose the tool that I want. I select anything that I wish. You also get your origin feat based on your background, and your starting equipment based on your class and on your background. So I can choose option B and option A, and I get my starting GP in here. In this case, 58. What I will be creating today is a wizard. I will call it Gandalf, and as you didn't know, Gandalf was actually a rock gnome. And the background will be sage, and he will be neutral good, for example. Now, I will assign the right skill points for my wizard. I will assign the respective points to intelligence and wisdom. Once again, I can see the final score and the modifier. I will check my my proficiencies. I will get the calligrapher supply. I get my origin feat, and I will start now choosing my equipment. I don't want that much gold. I want the 13 gold, but I want option A and option A for my background as well. You can also get your HP auto-calculated, or if your DM decides that you start with another value for HP, you can also override it in here. So let's create the character. Okay, here is my wizard, Gandalf, who is a rock gnome, a sage, and it's neutral good. I'm a level 1 wizard right now. In here, you will see the most basic part, which is the vitals for your character. So I have 8 HP as of now. I can take, I don't know, maybe 3 damage. I can heal by 4. I can add, I don't know, maybe 10 temporal HP. If I get damaged by that HP, it's no longer healable. I also have my hit dice for my class. In this case, I have 1d6 die for my wizard. We have inspiration, we have exhaustion, and if I click, for example, if I take damage and I click on short rest, it actually does nothing. But if I click on long rest, both my health and my exhaustion goes away. We have our abilities and the respective modifiers for each one of those. We have here our appearance. For example, the size is specific to the species. So if I were to choose, I don't know, an elf, my size will be medium in here. I can also manually override it. Let's say I cast enlarge or reduce on myself, so I can go tiny or I can go huge. In here I have my character description, the languages that I may know. For example, I know Common and I know Gnomish for being a gnome. I have my character backstory as well. And I also have my character conditions. So in here I can see what each condition does. Let's say I'm grappled and paralyzed. So those conditions will be added and I can visualize the effect from here. If I click on them, they disappear. Now going into combat. In here we have our combat stats. So we have the AC, which in this case is base 10 plus my dexterity modifier, in this case 1, so I have 11. If I try to override it, I will be told that, hey, this is not what you should have. So I can assign it back to 11. I have my initiative, my speed, I have my specific class resources and how they get recovered. In this case, I have Arcane Recovery and it recharges on long rest. So if I use it and I try to short rest, nothing will happen. If I try to long rest, now I get it back. I have my saving throws. And for example, I have Gnomish Cunning, so I get an advantage for saving throws on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. So I can also mark the charisma in here based on my racial trait. Now we have our class features. These ones get added as we level up. So for example, let me add some experience to my character. Let's add 300 experience and level up my wizard. Now I get the next class feature based on my level. We also have our class proficiencies, our skills and proficiencies. As you know, I chose insight and investigation, so it got immediately added. If I were to be very proficient in one of these, I can just click it again, and I get the extra bonus to it. I can just click it as many times as I want to set the proficiency to the required level. We have our feats, and also have all of our racial traits. We also have spells. So as you can see, I have my spell modifiers. I have my spell slots. Right now I'm a level 2 wizard, so I have 3 level 1 spell slots. I can add spells from the list. I can also search for them. Let's say I will search for invisibility. We have cantrips, the level 0 spells. We have level 1 spells that can be prepared or can be set as a wizard. Sorry, as a ritual. And well, we have them all categorized into the spell slots that they require or the level of the spell. Cantrips get immediately added to actions and attacks. But for example, for attack spells or well, any other spell that is not a cantrip, I need to prepare them and they will get added to my list of available attacks. I can prepare it as a ritual, so I will now have this icon that says, hey, you don't need to spend a spell slot on this. We also have the different tags for each spell. So it may be a verbal spell, a somatic spell, and it may also use a material. It will also say which material each spell requires. We also have concentration spells. So for example, if I start concentrating on invisibility, I will have in here that I am concentrating on invisibility. I can end the effect manually. Or if I concentrate in this, let's say I also add greater invisibility, which is also a concentrated spell, and I click on it. The first one gets toggled off, and now I'm concentrating on the greater invisibility. Now, As you can see, for armor class, I will go into inventory right now. So it's very important that we state what this does. So as you can see, I'm currently on armored, and if I were to, I don't know, maybe let's add leather armor, and I equip the leather armor. Now my AC goes up, but I also get an icon saying, "Hey, you're not proficient on light equipment." So we also have issues with the spells. You cannot cast them because you're not proficient with the armor you're wearing. If I unequip it, that goes off. It also works the same for shields, for example. If I were to be shielded, and I equip my shield, as I mentioned, I am not proficient on it. I do get the alert, and I also get it in here. If I were to add in my proficiencies shields, then that means that I am now proficient. I am unarmored plus shielded, but I no longer get that warning. Why? Because I am proficient, or I have that proficiency in the armor. I also get this cute icon for shield specifically. If I remove the proficiency, then I get the warning back. Same happens for equipment. So for example, if I were to equip a dagger, which is a simple weapon, and I do have the simple proficiency, this is based on my class, I do get the dagger in here, and I can use it for attacks. If I were to use, for example, a longsword, let's add the item longsword, and I equip it, I will get that warning, and the dagger gets unequipped because they belong to the same slot. I don't get the warning because it's not armor, but I will get the armor, the warning in my action and attacks because I am not proficient with this weapon. I mentioned the hit die at the beginning of the video, but as you can see, as I am level 2, I get 2 dice 6 for my wizard. If I spend them, well, they go down, right? And they get a reset on long rest. But I will get more hit dice as long as I keep leveling up. Now let's talk about. I will add a lot of XP, but I will go in level to level 3 wizard, let's say. But I don't want to take the set HP that I get by each level. I want to roll for my HP. Hey, it was higher, but as I mentioned, I need to accept this roll, and my HP goes up by that amount. At level 3, I also get the option to choose my subclass. As you see, I have these 5 class features, but if I were to choose Diviner, I am now a level 3 Wizard Diviner, and I also get the class features for the Diviner as well. As I level up, I also get more spell slots. I can use them. I can restore them manually as well, or I can restore them with a long rest. Now, let's talk about multiclassing. I can also choose to multiclass. So for example, I want to go for a Warlock and Wizard multiclass. Now, the HP for the Warlock is higher because it uses a D8 hit die. So I will use it, and now I have 3d6 die for my Wizard and 1d8 die for my Warlock. As for my class resources, or well, my spell slots, I also get the Warlock spell slots. Now, moving forward to choosing feats. So for example, as a level 4 wizard, I get a new feat. By the way, I manually limited the amount of classes you can choose to 2. I understand that this is not something that you do on the main game, but this is part of the application. And I will level up wizard once again, and at level 4, my wizard gets a new feature. So I can either add to my ability scores or choose a feature. I will still be working on the UI, but you can also. But I'll move forward. We can choose, for example, ability score improvement. we can increase one ability score by 2 or increase two ability scores by 1. There is no limit except the maximum of 20. So in the selection, I can increase my stats in here. I can do 2 points into one skill, or other features like Elemental Adept, which are limited to +1 to intelligence, wisdom, or charisma specifically. If we choose this feature, I can no longer set points into strength, dex, or constitution, but I can do so for intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. That's how we choose our feats. Let me choose, for example, Arctor, and it goes 1 up for charisma specifically. So I will complete my level up. And in here, in my features, I now have Actor with my +1 to ability score point increase. That's what I had. So my charisma is now 14. Now I will be moving to some other stuff in the inventory. We have the currency management, so I can manually set my currencies, and we also have the currency calculator. I can earn any of the currency. So for example, if I add 10 silver, this will be my new currency distribution. If I add 9, then this will be my new currency distribution. I can also spend it, and it gets automatically deducted. Something very important, Electrum is not being seen in here. There is a manual step that you can set to substitute silver for Electrum, but that will depend on your dungeon master and how you want to set up the campaign. So let's deduct the currency. And as you can see, everything gets set into my currencies. Now, let's talk about consumables, for example. Let's add potions. Potion of Healing, which is a consumable. You can see it in here. Let me unequip this. You can see that I have potions. I can add as many as I want in here. And in here, I can go to stuff that can be equipped or that can be used for it, or even if they have the treasure tag. So I can use my potion. It says in here, hey, you regain 2d4 plus 2 hit points when you drink this potion. I can use it. It doesn't really heal you, but you can, because you need to hit the dice, right? But you can just use it, and the amount will decrease by each use. Even if you use all of them, it completely disappears. That's one of the main difference between gear and consumable items. Now let's talk about magical, attuned, and cursed items. So for example, I have in here an item called Heart Sword. The Heart Sword is a magical item. It's currently unidentified, and if I click it, it says, hey, it hurts when it hits. What does it do? I have no idea. If I equip it, and I go back here, I will see that for some reason, my strength went up. Right now I have 13 from the 8 initially that I said, but if I didn't know this beforehand, I couldn't have known, right? My skills just could have gone up from nothing. If I unequip it, then it goes back to 8. Let's equip it again, and now I will click on identify this item. Let's say I cast identify, or I used a scroll to identify it. Now, hey, this is the adamantine sword. This sword is made of adamantium. It gives me +5 to strength. So now I know what it does, and now I can check that I have higher strength and know why I have higher strength. Other types of items are those that need to be attuned. So for example, I have the silvery green cloak. These items need to be attuned. I can equip it. Nope, no, never mind. This one did not need attunement. But for example, well, it's the same, right? I have it equipped. I have no idea what it's doing, but if I click on identify, hey, now this is what it does. It gives me +5 to stealth. So if I have it equipped and I go to my stealth skill, now I can see that it increased by 5. And I have currently +6 instead of the one that I had initially. If I unequip it, it goes back to 1. That verbosity or explainability, it's everywhere. So even in the spells, you can see what it does or what it should be doing. If I add, for example, Fireball, our wizard's favorite spell, and I can see that it has, I mean, what it does, the damage it does, not only on the action part, but from the add spells as well, or how I prepare these spells. Oops, it was not prepared. 80 damage, it does fire damage, and it does it in a 20 feet radius sphere. Now I know what it does, my spell, so I don't have to use the book or ask my DM every question. I can also prepare as a new user for all this stuff. Finally, we have the quest logs, in which I can create my new quest. So let's say this is quest 1, and this is the description of quest. I can create my quest, and it gets added in here. Inside the quest, I can create objectives. Let's say objective 1, objective 2. I may add some logs, added log, and I can keep track of the clues or what I have investigated for the respective quest, or maybe something that I think will get me somewhere in my campaign. I can cross objectives that I do. It actually gets tracked, so I have 2 out of 2 objectives right now. I can track it, and I have 1 out of 2. I can set the quest as active, completed, failed, or paused, and I can delete it as well. I can edit the basic stuff whenever I want as well. But this is meant for users to be able to keep track of what they should be doing. Now I will be moving to very specific class mechanics. So for example, you already saw the Warlock and Wizard packed magic. We also have a Druid, which at level 2, it unlocks the Wild Shape. And if I use it, now I get my active effect of Wild Shape. It lasts until the long rest, and I get more HP. I can manually cancel it, but remember, Wild Shape gives us our Druid level times 3 for the new hit point value. If I cancel it, I go back to 17, which is 6 less. If I use it again, it gets added, and I also get my HP again back. As I mentioned, every class resource charges differently from one another. In this case, Wild Shape gets restored on short rest. So if I short rest, I get it all back. You saw with Wizard, the Arcane Recovery is based on long rest. What other mechanics we have? We have monks with unarmored defense. So in here we have the base AC of 10 plus my dex plus my whiz. So right now I have -1 wisdom plus 2 dex, so that gives me a +1. With my 10 base, the armor gets calculated to 11. A barbarian also has the unarmored defense, but contrary to the monk, this one gets calculated based on the dexterity, wisdom with my +10 bases. So dexterity, wisdom, it gives, sorry, it was this. Oh, it's because I'm sorry. Let me restart the classes. I will choose my barbarian again, and here it is. The AC is the base 10 plus my dex plus my constitution. So I have +2 dex plus 2 constitution plus my 10 bases. I have 14 for my barbarian. If I equip leather armor, which should increase my armor score, it actually went down because I am no longer unarmored. If I unequip it, it goes back to 14. However, shield does not count for unarmored, so I can be shielded. So my shield AC score got added. Now I have 16 because I am unarmored plus my shield. Now, why I had the issue back then is because there is actually a tiebreaker. If I also choose Monk, which has the unarmored defense, the higher AC score will remain. So let me unequip the shield. As you can see, I still have 14 because the unarmored defense for the monk, it's 10 plus dex plus wisdom. In this case, it would be 10 plus 0 plus 2, 12, which is lower than my barbarian armor score. Give me... Sorry, apologies for that. We also have other stuff like dark vision. In this case, I'm a drow, so I will have my feature for a drow lineage, which sets my dark vision to 120. If I add another trait that it's dark vision, this one sets it to 60. The order doesn't really matter. The higher one will win. If I for some reason lose my drow lineage and just take dark vision, I get 60 feet. If I eliminate it, hey, I no longer have any dark vision. Let me add the drow lineage once again. As you can see, there is everything here. This shouldn't be added manually. This is for testing purposes more than anything. Well, I'll find it someday. Now, let's move forward to another class, which is Sorcerer, specifically the Draconic lineage. So right now, my Sorcerer has, well, its respective sorcery points. It has an armor class of 11, but if I choose Draconic Sorcery as my subclass, my AC is now 14, because Draconic Resilience gives me natural armor. So that's why it went up. So it's trying to adapt to every class or mechanics, and that's why this should be it's trying to be as user-friendly as possible. Now, I will now show you one of my favorite features of the applications, which are the Dungeon Master tools, which are in here. So as a Dungeon Master, I have access to every player, and let's say that our warlock, which is lawful evil, has been taking very good decisions for some reason. So I decide that his alignment is no longer evil; it's now neutral. So as a dungeon master, I took that decision based on my on my player's decisions or events. So that player will now see that for some reason he is now lawful neutral. We also have the creation of items. This is a way that dungeon masters can interact with its players, fully knowing what's waiting for them, but they don't really need to know. So, for example, hey, you find a shiny sword, you pick it up, and it's a sword of light. What's the description? Hey, it shines very brightly. The damage, I don't know, it's going to be 2d12. The type is piercing, and it has a range of 3 feet. It's light, it's versatile, and it requires finesse as well. What's the slot? We have main hand, offhand, and two-handed. This one is going to be a main hand. It may require attunement. This one will require attunement because it's a very strong sword, but the player doesn't really know why. Because the true name is actually the Sword of Brilliant Wings, and it's actually the Sword of the Heavens. What will it do? It will increase my strength by 3 and my wisdom by 5. So I can add those modifiers, my strength by 3 and my wisdom by 5. I will now save it to database. Now I go back to any player, let's say my barbarian who picked that up. and I search for my weapon, no? Right? The sword of light. Add it, and as you can see, it requires attunement. If I equip it, as you remember, it increased our strength and our wisdom. Right now we have 10 wisdom and 17 strength. If I equip it, it does nothing. Why? Because this one requires attunement. If I attune to this weapon, now I will get those stat changes. I still don't know what it does, right? But I'm still getting the benefits from it just because I attuned and I have it equipped. If I cast it shines very brightly, that's what I know. If I identify this item, now it is the Sword of Brilliant Light of Brilliant Wings, and now I know it increases my strength by 3 and my wisdom by 5. Here are the magical properties of it, so now I know what it does, and it's attuned to my character. Other things that the Dungeon Master should be able to do is, for example, the Bag of Holding. It's a magical item, and well, we know what a Bag of Holding does, right? It increases our encumbrance by 500, specific for material components, and I'm gonna equip it. Oops, it's cursed. I still don't. So as I have it equipped, I can now identify it, and it's actually the Bag of Devouring. This bag is actually a creature's mouth, and 50% of the chance of there, it has a 50% chance of being lost when retrieved any item that I have in my Bag of Devouring. So these are the things that the Dungeon Master can actually do. With the Dungeon Master tools, it can create in real time these weapons or these items for a player to use. I plan to expand it for it to be able to create spells, and at some point maybe a Monsterpedia. But well, this is what the Dungeon Master is going to be doing as well within the application. It shouldn't be a player specific. Thank you all so much for watching, and hope you enjoy the video. I'm always open for feedback, for anything that you would like to see, something that didn't make sense to you, or that you would like to have it with a better user experience as well. Once again, thank you so much.